Hello everyone, my name is Srishti. I'm your NCLEX tutor, and today we will discuss about the most important topic, that is prioritization and delegation. Okay, let us start. I'll share screen. Okay. Okay, so today we will discuss about the prioritization and delegation. Sound is clear? Okay. So, what's what is prioritization? So we will discuss in this topic that we have to we have to give an answer by thinking critically. Okay. So the complete guide to answer each and every question, you have to think like a safe nurse, not just a test taker. Like what will they think? You have to think like a safe nurse. Okay, so always think critically and precisely correctly how to prevent a patient in such scenario. Okay, so let us start with the learning objective. What we will do in this lecture. So we will do prioritization, how to prioritize patient correctly, apply ABC confidently. Third one is differentiate between stable versus unstable patient, and then delegate tasks safely and solve an NCLEX prioritization question. One or two questions I will discuss with you guys. So in this lecture, we will discuss that how to prioritize or how to assess the patient firstly when they need our attention first. Okay, so by applying ABC. ABC, what do you mean by ABC? A stands for airway, B stands for breathing, C stands for circulation. So we will apply these criteria in our questions. Okay. The next one is we have to differentiate between who is stable and who is unstable patient. We will also discuss this later. So next, the topic we will discuss, that is delegating tasks safely. We should know the scope of nurse, RN, LPN, LVN, and UAP and CNA, so we can delegate it safely. Okay, so the next one is solve NCLEX prioritization. No question we will solve. We will discuss one or two questions at the end. So let us start. What do you mean by prioritization? What is prioritization? So there is a definition, which means prioritization is the process of deciding which patient or nursing action require immediate attention first. That is, prioritization is that which patient who is unstable, who has unexpected signs and symptoms, who have actual condition, or who has a acute condition, who needs our attention first, who needs our intervention first. Okay, who needs our priority. Okay, so this is a prioritization. Like हम किसे चूज करते हैं फर्स्ट. ओके, so whenever you have this scenario, whenever you have 4 to 5 patients and you have to select one patient, just ask yourself, who is the least safe? कौन सबसे ज्यादा सेफ नहीं है? कौन सबसे ज्यादा रिस्क पे है? हु इज अनस्टेबल? कौन सा पेशेंट जो है वो अनस्टेबल है, जिसकी कंडीशन जो है वो खराब हो रही है? सो हमने ये लुकआउट करना है. द नेक्स्ट वन इज हु विल डिटियोरिएट फर्स्ट? कौन, किसकी जो कंडीशन है, किसकी हेल्थ है जो और खराब हो रही है? सो वी नीड टू गिव or we need to prioritize that person first. Next question we will have to ask ourselves, that who requires immediate intervention? As a safe nurse, you have to think critically, or you have to select that patient who needs an intervention first. Okay, there is a scenario, you will get that there will be a four patient with all conditions. Okay, with critical condition, and you need to select that one who needs our attention first, who needs your attention first, who needs nurse attention first. Okay, so this is called prioritization. So how we will do this? So there is a framework, as my framework says, that we need to do step by step thinking process, which include ABC. That means airway, breathing, circulation. Then second one is stability, which patient is stable and which patient is unstable. We need to think about that. Then we need to differentiate between acute versus chronic condition. Okay, then next we have to understand which sign and symptom are expected or which findings are unexpected, and what we choose unexpected findings over expected findings. Okay, next one is actual versus potential. Actual condition is the patient is suffering from that condition, and potential condition is that is patient the patient is at risk of that condition. Like patient have active bleeding, it is an actual condition, and patient is at risk of bleeding, it is a potential condition. So you will always choose actual condition over potential condition. Okay, the next one is safety risk. We need to consider safety protocols according to our policy, according to our hospital policy, agency policy, or facility policies. Okay, next there is a nursing process which include assessment, number one, then diagnosis, then planning, then implementation, and then evaluation. So this is a nursing process. And the last topic we will discuss, that is clinical judgment, how to clinically judge the patient. Okay, so this will include prioritization, include these topics. Okay, we have already done that. What is prioritization? Prioritization is the process of deciding which patient or nursing action require immediate attention first, and we have to ask ourselves that who is the least safe, who is unstable, who will deteriorate first, who require immediate intervention, who have actual problem, who have potential problem, who have expected findings or who have unexpected findings. So there is an NCLEX step. We need to understand that the exam will always ask, who do you see the first? So there will be the word, who do you see the first? Who do you give the priority? Okay, they will never ask who is the sickest. Okay, they will not ask which patient is sickest. They will ask who do you see first. And for the first intervention, for the first assessment, we need to understand which patient is unstable, which patient have unexpected findings, which patient have actual condition, which patient have acute condition. So we need to understand these kind of things before answering any question. Never ever quickly answer the question. Just we have to wait, we have to critically think about the question and understand that it is that the patient is safe or not. Okay, the patient is stable or not, or patient will deteriorate, then you have to give your attention, or you have to implement your intervention, or you have to assess the patient first. Okay, the next one is prioritization framework. We already done. So it included steps: ABC, stability, acute versus chronic, expected, unexpected, actual versus potential, safety risk, nursing process, clinical judgment. And what we need to remember, that we have to remember, always move from life-threatening condition to urgent to routine. That means if you want to prioritize a patient, you think about who have life-threatening condition, who is at the risk of life threatening. Okay, so we just give the assessment, we just do the assessment, or we do the intervention for that patient who have a life threatening condition. After that we move to urgent patient, like who need our intervention urgently. First life threatening, then urgently, and then routine. The routine work, stable patient, expected findings. So these kind of patient, or these patient can wait for an intervention. But life threatening patient, life threatening condition, acute condition, actual conditions, unexpected findings need our interventions immediately. They can't wait. Okay, who can wait? Routine patients, stable patient who are at discharge, because they are recovering from their condition, so they are getting discharged, so they can wait for our intervention. Next one is, okay, let us start with the ABC priority. Here A stands for airway, and which includes some criteria such as airway obstruction, choking, swollen tongue, stridor. Stridor is a sound which occur when there is a airway obstruction, such as in epiglottitis, like inflammation of epiglottis, and then the breathing come. B stands for breathing, which includes such criteria like respiratory distress, ARDS, a condition which need our intervention immediately. Okay. Next, low oxygen saturation level. Oxygen saturation level, the normal oxygen saturation level is between 95% to 100%. For some condition, for such conditions such as COPD, the oxygen saturation level is 90, which is expected. Okay, so below 90% of saturation level needs our intervention first. So the next criteria for the breathing is shortness of breath, dyspnea. Need our intervention, immediate intervention we have to give. Respiratory rate which is more than 30, okay, that is hyperventilation, or hyperventilation, that is less than 8 less than 8 breath per minute. Okay, the third criteria which includes circulation. C stands for circulation, which have some conditions like shock, severe bleeding, hypotension, cardiac arrest. Shock include hypotension, tachycardia, and irregular respirations. Whereas severe bleeding, which is known as hemorrhage, also need our intervention first. Okay, so we know that hemorrhagic patient can go into shock. Okay, so the first sign for the shock is a tachycardia, increased heart rate. The next one is hypotension, decreased blood pressure. Decreased blood pressure, that is about 80 or 90 by, this is the systolic 80 or 90, or by diastolic blood pressure which is about 50 or 60. This is decreased blood pressure. It is known as hypotension, which require our intervention. Next one is the cardiac problem, that is cardiac arrest. So there is a rule, Anclex rule, which include, first we have to assess the airway, and then breathing, and then circulation. If you have four patients which include airway, breathing, and circulation, the first person you need to assess is airway. The person who is suffering from airway obstruction, the person who is suffering from uh, airway choking. Okay, so you need to understand who will need your intervention first. Okay, the next one is stable versus unstable patient. So there is a stable versus unstable patient. Stable patient are those which have expected findings. Okay, they can wait. They can wait for our intervention. Like, first one is expected recovery, normal vital signs, chronic condition, predictable outcomes. They can wait. But who cannot wait are unstable patient. Unstable patient who have sudden vital sign changes, altered consciousness, like they have lost their or they have lacked their consciousness. Okay, or next one is chest pain. Also it includes in unstable patient, they need our intervention first. Then active bleeding, that is hemorrhage, patient can go into shock. There can be hypotension, tachycardia, so you need to assess them first. Respiratory distress, these patients are unstable patient. Stable patient can wait for our intervention, but unstable patient can't wait for our intervention. Okay, so we need to intervene them as soon as possible or immediately. They are emergent patients. Priority, unstable patients. So we need to understand our priority is unstable patient. Okay. So the priority between stable and unstable patient, always unstable patient. So next one is acute versus chronic. Acute condition which have new onset, sudden, unexpected, or which requires immediate care. So acute condition patient need our intervention, need our attention first, as they are their condition is just happened now, so we need to prevent them, so they need our intervention first. But whereas chronic condition, they are long standing or they are managed condition. Okay, they are usually stable, so they can wait for an intervention, but acute patient can't wait, so we need to intervene them immediately. Okay. Example, example COPD for 15 years or versus sudden respiratory distress or answer respiratory distress. So between COPD, so there is an example that is acute versus chronic. COPD for 15 years, it is a chronic condition. Okay. Uh, versus a sudden respiratory distress, it is a acute condition, and acute condition needs our intervention first. So we will assess sudden respiratory distress. Answer will be respiratory distress. Okay, the next is expected versus unexpected findings. Expected findings include mild post-operative pain. After surgery, after operation, there will be a mild pain, which is expected finding, and there is no need for intervention. We just give the analgesia. Okay, the next one is slight swelling after surgery. After surgery there will be slight swelling or slight redness. It also do not include do not intervene need intervention, or we do not intervene for these patients. Okay. Next one is mild nausea after anesthesia. After giving anesthesia, there is an expected finding that they have mild nausea. Okay, which are the unexpected finding, which patients have an unexpected finding, which conditions have unexpected finding and need our intervention, need our attention. So there is a sudden confusion, chest pain, oxygen saturation level that is about 82%. We already discussed that oxygen saturation level, which is about 95 to 100%. Below 90, they will need our intervention. Okay. So there is a next one is an unexpected finding, that is severe hypotension. They also need our intervention, they also need our attention. As a safe nurse, we need to intervene these patients with the unexpected findings. Okay, an unexpected finding receive higher priority. The next one is actual versus potential problem. There are two problems, that is actual, which means patient is currently experiencing the complication. Example, bleeding, hyperglycemia, airway obstruction. And the potential problem, patient is at risk but no complication yet. Example, risk for falls, risk for infection, risk for aspiration. Like example, actual condition are the patient is suffering or patient is experiencing the complication like bleeding, active bleeding. They are suffering or they are experiencing hemorrhage. They are experiencing hypoglycemia. We need to assess them. Okay, the patient who is at risk can wait, but the patient who is experiencing the complication, we need to intervene them first. Okay, so always there is a rule, actual over potential. Then the safety comes, always prioritize falls, suicide precautions, or airway compromise, medication error, anaphylaxis, seizures. The question is who is in immediate danger. We need to question ourselves, who needs our intervention first, who is in immediate danger. Okay. The next step is nursing process, which include ADPE, which include assessment, diagnosis, planning, implementation, evaluation, and the NCLEX rule is that never implement before assessing unless it's an emergency. They are saying that we need to intervene, but we need to assess them first. Our first priority is assessing. unless there is an emergency. If there is an emergency and our intervention are required, we need to intervene there. But otherwise, there is no emergency, we need to assess first. Interventions are after our assessment. We need to assess, then we will go to the interventions, or then we will implement our interventions. Okay, so this is the rule for NCLEX, that never implement before assessing unless it is an emergency. You will get the question about that. We have the scenario, patient is suffering from the condition. You need to assess their saturation level, you need to assess their respiratory level, you need to assess their temperature, you need to assess their vital signs first. Before implementing any intervention, you need to assess first. Okay, next the delegation overview, which means delegation means assigning appropriate task while maintaining accountability. RN is responsible for the patient she is delegating to another nursing assistant. Okay, we are responsible as a RN. We are responsible. We are accountable for the patient who we are delegating to another nurse, or we are delegating to LPN, LVN, or UAP and CNA. We are responsible for their outcomes. So there are some responsibility. We will discuss RN responsibility, LPN, LVN responsibility, UAP, and CNA responsibility. RN responsibility, what actions can be done by RN? RN can assess, RN can teach. Which teaching? Initial teaching. Okay. RN can evaluate the patient, evaluate the outcomes. Okay. The next one is clinical judgment is done by RN. Fourth, care plans are done by the RN. Next, blood transfusion is also done by RN. Then admission of patient. Newly admitted patient are assessed by RN. Admission also done by RN. Then care for unstable patient. The patient who are unstable also, their care has been done by RN. Okay. Remember, assessment, teaching, evaluation. So it include EAT. So E stand for evaluation, A stand for assessment, T stand for teaching. These actions can be, these action can be, not can be, these actions are done by RN. Okay. So which action are done by LPN or LVN? So LPN, LVN responsibilities, they can care for stable patient, they can do dressing changes, they can do catheter insertion, medication administration according to the facility policy. They can reinforce teaching. They can't give initial teaching, they can reinforce the teaching that already given by the RN. What actions they cannot do? The initial assessment, clinical judgment, patient education. They cannot do any initial assessment, they cannot do clinical judgment, they can't do patient education. Okay, these condition or these assessment, initial assessment, clinical judgment, patient education are done by RN, registered nurse. Okay. The next is UAP and CNA responsibilities. They can perform bathing, feeding stable patient, walking patient, intake and output, hygiene, routine vital signs. Vital signs after procedure within 15 minutes are done by RN. Okay, they can do routine vital signs for the stable patient. Bed making they can do. What actions they can't do is assessment, teaching, evaluation, medication administration. We have already discussed that these are under the scope for RN. Okay. Medication administration can be done by LPN. Okay, so NCLEX delegation trick is that ask yourself or ask these three questions. Does it require any assessment? Okay, you have the question. Delegate this patient to another nurse, LPN or UAP. You have to ask yourself, does it require assessment? Does the patient require any assessment? If yes, no delegation. You have to assess. As RN, we have to assess for the assessment. Okay. Next, does it require teaching? If yes, then you can't delegate, because initial teaching or teaching has been done by RN. As a registered nurse, we have to do the teaching process. The LPN can reinforce teaching, but they can't give initial teaching. Okay. Does it require clinical judgment? If yes, then it also cannot be delegated. It is also done by RN. If the answer to these questions are no, then you can delegate it appropriately and safely according to scope of the nurse, scope of LPN and scope of LVN. Okay, so common NCLEX mistake which has been done by many students, that choosing the loudest patient. They choose the sickest patient or they choose the loudest patient. But we need to understand which we have to choose unstable patient over the loudest. We have to choose actual patient, actual condition patient before any loudest or sickest patient. We can't ignore abnormal vital signs. Okay, we have like delegating the assessment, but if we delegate assessment, it is not appropriate. RN cannot delegate assessment process to any another nurse or LPN, UAP. Okay, picking chronic before acute, which is wrong. We already discussed that acute condition must be seen before chronic condition. Memorizing instead of understanding. We need to understand. So the last one is memorizing instead of understanding. Students just memorize the concept. Actually, they have to understand. Actually, they have to understand how to prioritize patient. Okay. So these are the common mistake which has been done by the students in their main exam. So there is a golden rules for the NCLEX, that is we need to remember, we need to understand actually. Okay. Airway first, unstable before stable, acute before chronic, unexpected before expected, actual before potential, assessment before implementation. We already discussed that before implementation, we need to assess the patient. Assessment is the first process before any intervention. Okay, rather there is an emergency, we need to assess the patient. Okay, so RN have the scope for assess, teach and evaluate. Okay, so quick cheat sheet, quick summarization, prioritization, which include ABC, then unstable, then acute, then unexpected, actual, safety, least restrictive and least invasive. Delegation we have already discussed. RN have assessment, teaching, evaluation, clinical judgment, and LPN have the scope for stable patient, routine procedures, medication which oral medications for the stable patient. UAP have scope for ADL, activity for daily life. Okay, hygiene, vitals, routine vitals. Okay, ambulation. The practice question, here's a practice question one. Who do you assess first? Option A, SpO2 84%, pain 8 by 10. Okay, so the patient is describing pain 8 by 10. Okay, needs discharge teaching. Discharge teaching, I have already discussed that if the patient is getting discharged, he is recovering from their condition. So this patient do not need our intervention. Okay. D, waiting for breakfast. Waiting for breakfast, maybe, may not, but also he does not need our intervention. Who needs our intervention first? Who we assess the first? So the one, SpO2 84, we have already discussed that SpO2 is between 95% to 100%, and which is very low here. 84% is low. So there is a airway. We need to understand this is a breathing problem. So reason is breathing problem. The next question is, who can ambulate a stable post-operative patient? Who can ambulate? We know that UAP can ambulate a stable post-operative patient. Okay, so here's the end. Thank you so much for listening and for watching. Thank you so much.